we have to create the right vibe, the energy, and everybody at the organization has to feel so privileged to be here. It's no other way.
Thanks for listening to the Purely Arsenal podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at Purely Arsenal FP for all the latest Arsenal podcasts.
Welcome to the sit down at the Purely Arsenal podcast. We're back. We asked for 2 wins in a week and we got 2 wins in a week. Neil Shah, it's our best start to a Premier League season, I believe, or equal to maybe, but I think it might even have surpassed it. Should have checked that before. And 9 wins in 10. We're 4 points clear at the top of the league. Do you have to pinch yourself?
Nah, I expected it. I'm joking.
At the start of the season. It's amazing though, isn't it? I mean, do you ever just sit there and look at sometimes people will ask me, well, what are you looking at night? And I said, just the league table, really.
Table.
It's brilliant.
I'm just looking at the league table.
Just the league table, exactly. But look, we spoke after what was an amazing week, really, where we'd beaten Tottenham. We'd won our midweek game, and then we played Liverpool, and that was just a huge victory for us. So in a way, I mean, people talk about sort of trip games, don't they, or ones that might set you back. I was actually quite worried about this game going in because we'd been to the North Pole in midweek for our game. I watched that closely. I mean, it was obviously, we don't want to talk too much about that game, but it was not a performance you really want to talk over too much. We got the win. Obviously, it was on a turf pitch, more worried about getting injuries. We played quite a strong team, or we had a strong bench that came off. But we got the win, which was really, really important. I'm not sure we really deserved it. Saka was probably the shining light out of that game, and he's really hitting form. Lovely little chin into the net, that was. First one of the season for him. Get a couple more of those maybe. But again, we stayed over there for Thursday night. I was following them all on Instagram, very curious to see what happened. I was like, so we're not really going to do anything until Saturday. So Leeds have been building up all week. We're building up really from Saturday, seeing who's fit, who's not. That's really difficult. Notoriously, I mean, I know Leeds are kind of newish to the league for a lot of people now, but me and you know Elland Road is a tough place to go. I mean, even at our peak, even when Leeds weren't very good, Elland Road was the atmosphere's big, really good crowd, close to the pitch, a bit like a Yorkshire Highbury version, just kind of thing. So we went there. I mean, I think the team was quite interesting. Most of it picked itself. I do find the left back decision interesting. In my head, I was hoping Zinchenko was fit for this game. I felt we needed him back, and we don't know anything really about his timeline, which is a little bit worrying. But Neil, just discuss for me overall what your thoughts were. It was one that, a lot of people would say maybe we wouldn't have won this another year because we were really under the cost second half. What do you put that down to?
I think it's just been a tough a tough week. Going away to where we went to play Bodo, an unknown team, as we'd never played them before, and playing on an artificial pitch. Going as quite a cold climate from what I could see, what I could tell. And as you just mentioned there perfectly, not really having any time to prep for a very tough game. It has been historically a tough game. We've had many famous FA Cup ties with them, and we've had the rivalry in the early 70s with them, and it's a very oppressive atmosphere. It was akin to the away games to Brentford and Crystal Palace. Very tough grounds to go to because the crowd, their fans are great. And we know that Leeds are going to be a very high press attacking unit. Their manager, we just spoke off there. I mean, I quite like him actually, and he's spoken very highly of Arteta as well. But he's got them playing this very fast, high press game. I didn't realise, but until yesterday, I found out that they're even actually on average a younger squad than ours. So they're full of energy.
They?
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Wow, it's probably their first team, like people like Bamford and stuff like that. Put them over. I don't know. They got maybe a few. Okay, interesting.
So they're gonna have the energy because so I went to a friend's to because he had this thing that you pay for and you can get everything, watch all the games and whatnot. But unfortunately, after about 20 minutes, his stream failed, and I think it was a wide word thing.
That was after the
Yeah,
technology issue in the stadium when the game was actually going on. Was it? Okay, got it.
Yeah. But what we did watch, he started saying, they're not going to be able to keep this up. From the first half, he says they're going to fall away.
Tweeting that,
but they did, and in fact, they got even better.
Yeah.
To be fair, so I think I put it down to a combination of the tough away game, and then obviously not having time to prep, and then obviously being bombarded with this ridiculous constant press. I mean, they were on us 2s and 3s every time we got the ball. They were on us like a pack of wolves constantly. We just didn't have any time to play the way we have been for the first 9 games, or what we've seen, and even in the other couple of European games that we played in, apart from Bodo, I guess. So I put it down to that. Maybe they're starting to feel a bit leggy, which you've hit, suggested some concerns over. But how I see it, Jack, every team, every individual goes through their purple patches in the season, but also a bad patch. If this is going to be our bad patch, and yet we're still getting results, while there is a tinge of concern in me, I think we will recover quite quickly. I think the mentality and the mindset that Arteta is instilling in these guys, I think the performance will hurt them. The way we were hurt with the Man United loss and we bounced back, I think they're going to look back at these 2 games and think we haven't played well. Because no one really did, apart from maybe Ramsdale, Gabriel, maybe 1 or 2 others. Saka, of course, who all of a sudden now is a repeat of the couple of last seasons gone by, where we've had to rely on him to get us out of trouble a little bit and carry the team as he was with Emil Smith-Rowe. It's almost reverted back to that a little bit in these last couple of games. He's amazing. He's an amazing star boy. But I think Arteta will get them back fairly quickly. I'm a little bit more relaxed this week because obviously we're at home to PSV, so no travelling, which means he probably can field a stronger team, which he probably needs to. But they don't have to do the travelling, so he can have quite a few on the bench if he need be to rest them maybe for the away game to Southampton. But then if they need to come on, because I think it is quite an important must-win game on Thursday, he can bring them on, but they don't need to travel. I think we'll be all right. I'm not as concerned as I thought I might be. I think that's probably part of the reasons for the lackluster performance.
Yeah, no, I think you make a lot of good points on that. And I think, time will tell on this one, because obviously I have this sort of, pessimistic side to me of the football that we've played in the past under Mikel Arteta. And obviously, certainly in the second half, this was a reversion to that. But like you, I did feel we just physically dropped off. Like in the second half, when I was watching the second half, immediately, I think I was texting you guys. I was like, get Ben White off the pitch now. Like, not because I don't like Ben White. I think he's been fantastic this season. He literally looked like he could not run. He looked like he could not run. He was gassed. He was down his knee. I was like, just get him off. Get Tomiyasu over there and switch, because obviously they're both fresher. Switch Tierney over to the left. I actually think that's how we should have started. Ben White played for the first time 3 games in a week. I don't think he's ever done it. Maybe he did it last season with us in a League Cup or FA Cup, but we were out of them really early. So I don't know when he's done it. Not done it with Leeds, not done it with Brighton. This was almost the first time. You could see. I thought it was a bit of a weird decision to play him in midweek at Bodo, but then I thought the reasoning for that was we're going to play Tomiyasu against Leeds and give Ben White a breather in the league. But we didn't. We started him, and first off, I mean, it was relatively even. Like they were really intense Leeds, but we had our moments, didn't we, in the first half for sure. And one of those moments before the goal, we had an unbelievable move before the goal. I don't know if you remember it. Unbelievable move from back to front. And they called a free kick on Jesus when he fell, but he knocked the ball to Martinelli at the same time. And he called the free kick too quickly, because otherwise that was going to be goal.
Oh, yeah, they called it back. Yes.
Called it back. And I was going mental at the TV. I was like, what? Like, you always wait to blow. They always wait. They wait for he's blowing it as he's falling. And I was so upset. And we'll get to the ref in a second, because there's so many key decisions to go over, mostly from the second half. But obviously they had their chances too. Like you said, I thought Ramsdale was probably his best game of the season. And the weird thing is Ramsdale likes to be busier, doesn't he? He was like Leicester last season almost, wasn't it? And And it's when he's quiet that maybe you're a little bit more worried about him. Like if he's got one or two things to do. Actually, that same argument could have been made towards Leno, to be honest, whether he's, we used to say Leno was busy. He was a great shot stopper. But Ramsdale in this game was really good, made some really good saves. The one from Saliba's mistake, standing out specifically when Saliba made a very, very unlike him mistake.
Yeah.
Him and White in the second half, both playing midweek, looked like they were both really struggling in the second half. So we'll get to that a little bit. What were your thoughts on the goal, Neil? It was a mistake from Rodrigo.
Yeah, they're trying to switch play, weren't they? And
we ate it up, didn't we?
But you know what I liked? I liked Odegaard's awareness, because he got onto the loose ball so quickly, and I liked his awareness and his vision.
He was brilliant first half, yeah.
Oh, what a pass again! It's beautiful, isn't it?
Telling him what to do before he does it. Telling him what to do. One touch hit.
Do you not think there's a few there's a bit of familiarity there with the likes of Bergkamp as well, with his vision? There really is. It's just like Mike reads the ball so well, and he just knows what he's going to do almost telepathically, and he just cuts off. There's no defence in the world that can cope with that, though. When he does that, you can't, can you? You can't legislate for it. You just can't. And but for me, that stood out. And then Saka, oh God, I thought that was a cross, and he just went in the net. I was just like, what?
I thought it hit side netting.
And it was first, that's right, and it was first touch.
First touch, right foot.
No goalkeeper in the world saving that. Sorry, that was a great goal.
Someone on another pod's already mentioned it, but it did. As soon as I saw it hit, it reminded me of. Do you remember Batistuta's one against us at Wembley? Do you remember it?
Yes.
When we were playing European games at Wembley, we lost 1-0 to Fiorentina. And he smashed it above Seaman, and Seaman was kind of doing this flailing thing, going back. And I mean, their keeper didn't really flail, but it was the same position basically. But actually, if you watch it back, Neil, the ball that got flipped over to Saka does really well initially, because the left back flies in at him, and he basically was doing that the whole game, just flying in onto Saka and trying to get touch tight. And Saka just stands his ground, and it's a little dink header down to Odegaard's feet, and then he's gone. And I thought that I keep watching it. I was like, that was a brilliant, because a lot of right wingers would have probably stepped off it and taken it down to their foot, and he would have lost the ball. But he just stood his ground. He just gave it straight to Odegaard and knew, I'm off, because he's going to find me. I think
and he looked, and he knew, because he looked at him. It's almost right. I'm here. Do it. And that's what I like.
For all their pressure and all their chances in the second half, that was the one bit of elite finishing that was in the whole game, wasn't it? Really. Okay. And that was the clinical part of us, which is great to see as well. It's great to see us win games differently. But
I will say we have been lucky, because even with the two games with Bodo, if their finishing had been better, we could have been in trouble. Because Bodo played well, and their end product, their finishing, that was the only thing that they lacked.
A little bit lucky,
There was a even before the last incident at the game, they had a chance. I think I don't know his name, but he skied it over. He was clear on. He just skied the ball straight over, and that was late. That was 88 minutes. I can't remember when. So we have carried our luck. I'm not going to deny it. We did survive with the grace of luck.
Oh yeah,
down to their finishing. Yeah. So
and we had our moments. They had their moments in the first half. I didn't really feel like we were leggy. Do you know what I will say? That the tech issue. So like, let's say when you're playing regularly, and I mean, I know this a little bit from playing quite regularly. Like the games over here in college, you play like 3 games a week. And I remember for the first time when I came over here, the first year I played in college, I was getting this just unbelievable soreness in my legs between games. And I was literally going into the next game feeling super sore, because you just don't have time to recover. And what you acquire in that, and I train people like this every day, is when you've got that sort of soreness, you need a really good warm-up. And it's really hard to get warm. But once you're warm, it's almost like just keep moving. Do you know what I mean? Like it takes longer. You have to go slower and build it up longer. But once you get all that lactic acid out, you're like, okay, now I'm going, and now I'm feeling like I'm ready to go. So we would have been like that for a 90-second period, and then shut down 40 minutes. And when I was watching it, I was like, this is not working in our favour at all. I'm not saying it necessarily worked in Leeds' favour. I was like, this is not what we want. And no matter how much you do in the locker room, and you can't mimic in-game warm-up. You just can't do it, And I thought the weird thing was it felt kind of delayed. We were okay first half. It was a back and forth game, but the fatigue really set in the second half. It really set in for I would say at least 6 or 7 of the players.
Easily,
it really set in. Did it from the first? It was really. I mean, I guess the trigger was Bamford came on for them for Rodrigo, and literally. Well, let's go through the first ref decision. The first ref decision was the push on the back, clear push for you.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah. I've heard some people say we got off a little bit lucky there. Sometimes they're given, but it was a clear push, wasn't it?
It was a push.
Yeah, I agree.
You're talking about their penalty?
No, sorry. The goal that Bamford scored. It was probably first.
Oh yeah,
half.
yes. No, that was pushed. It was pushed.
Pushing the back on Gabriel. Everything was on Gabriel, but it was pushing the back on Gabriel.
Yeah, that's what got confused. I think he was involved in all the controversy.
Yeah, he was with a lot of it, but probably one of his best games of the season as well.
This is the thing. That's the other comforting thing. All season, it's been Saliba almost being the main man out of the two, and I don't think Saliba had his best game. And instead, but Gabriel was there to pick up the pieces, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of the old days of Vieira and Petit, where if one did a mistake, the other would pick up, or vice versa. I loved it. Yeah. I loved the partnership between the two of them. So yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's probably his better
Gabriel's
games.
a bit more of that sort of last ditch defender, isn't he? He's more of that. He can play a little deeper. Saliba, when you're playing high and you've got people trying to get in behind you, like he's elite, but on the ball. But Gabriel, when your back's against the wall, he seems to really come out fighting, doesn't he? Really?
Yeah.
And I agree. I mean, I think he made he made some really key blocks in this game.
He did.
Key blocks, big tackles.
Got his body in the way. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Really fantastic. But the push on the back, I've heard some people say, put it this way: when I watched it, I thought, I'll tell you what, that's way more of a push than Odegaard make against Man United, and they gave a free kick for on a midway. Way more. You can't push into. He was saying Bamford ran straight to the ref and said it's my chest, but he literally forearmed him into the back. I mean, that's a foul anywhere on the pitch. So that's the correct decision.
100%.
Ref made it quick. That was good. Then we had what was the next one? Saliba's penalty. Now this has got a whole host of problems with it because. First of all, they don't give the penalty for an age, do they? The game went on for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
And the weird thing, I'm watching my volume on pretty low, but when they give the penalty, they show the whole playback, and they don't mention anything about the offside, Neil. Not even the commentary. I've watched tons of commentaries. Then not one of them has said, "Well, it shouldn't have really happened because it's offside." They just don't mention it, and it's not half a yard; it's like a full yard and a half. Well off. So what do you think? I mean, we heard last week with the Saka one against Liverpool that there was some sort of VAR loophole, but this was nothing like that. They just didn't review it. Did they not review it, or they chose to not?
No, they didn't. I think it was missed because.
How can you miss that?
I don't know. Even the linesman. I mean, you can just see it with your eyes. You don't need any technology whatsoever, Jack. He was way off. It was about at least a foot and a half.
Yeah,
he was way off. The Saka one. Even if, all right, let's play devil's advocate. Even if it had been off, it would have been a silly one where it was like literally a tiny bit of a foot or something.
Off,
yeah. It was that, and it was so fast. This one, it was so blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
And so, as far as I'm concerned, the penalty miss was justified because it shouldn't have led to the penalty decision anyway.
No,
because it should have been called offside. So that's it for me. So for me again. Wrong decision, but right outcome, if that makes sense. And it's not me being biased because it shouldn't have been. The play should have stopped anyway. Offside. And
it shouldn't have been a pen.
No,
absolutely. It shouldn't have been a pen. And I watched it again, and I don't know if you remember the Tottenham Man City Champions League semi-final where Sterling scored in the last second, and then it got called back.
Oh
and
yeah,
that play for that offside was very similar to the Saka one, but it was so long before the actual goal. It was like a minute before the goal. And and they still called it back, and obviously, because it's part of the same player, they disallowed it.
Yeah.
This one was, I want to say it was like 10 seconds before the ball went into the box. He was involved in the play. He got the ball, we gave it back, and the ball got whipped in. And you're right. Based on the actual moment for Saliba, it is a handball and a penalty. Obviously, it's not. It shouldn't have existed, but it is a handball and a penalty.
No, that's correct. That decision was correct. In isolation, that's correct.
And you can tell Saliba's. I don't think he means to do it, but his arm moves to the ball. It's like instinctive.
He knew it.
He knew. He went. This is getting called back. He knew it. The second problem I have with this though was that he was booked for it, and I cannot. And he's now. I think he's one booking, or what? Maybe one booking away from a suspension. That is a real big problem for me because, first of all, no one's getting to that ball. No, that's not stopping a goal scoring opportunity.
No,
he's instinctively done this. He's not meant to handball it, but his arms moved towards the ball. So he's instinctively done that. But the booking would mean they thought he was stopping a goal scoring opportunity or something. And he's not stopping. The ball's going through the Ramsdale or going for a goal kick. No one's getting to that ball. He just doesn't catch the flight of it till too late, and he instinctively puts his arm out.
Yeah,
I was actually really annoyed when I found out he got booked from it. I was like, I cannot work that out.
I completely missed that. I'm sorry, I didn't realise he had.
Yeah, that's frustrating for me. And the second frustrating one, which we'll get to, is why Gabriel was booked, not Bamford for the later one. But we'll get to that in a second. But Neil, let's just talk a little bit about the second half and how they were getting in behind us. I mean, can we solely put it down to fatigue? Is there more concerns that you have there? We couldn't get on the ball, Neil. We couldn't, our midfield was non-existent. I thought Partey had a really poor game.
They all did.
Yeah, we couldn't get Odegaard on the ball like we did in the first half. We hooked him. I thought that was a wrong decision, but we hooked him.
Yeah.
I mean, concerns then, Neil, because some people might argue, like for example, if you're going for the title, let's say we're going for the title, they might argue that you're not going to see City under the cosh like that for 45. So, my concern there is, I guess our inability to be able to change it for long periods. We were just under cosh. We'd seen that game half a dozen times last season, hadn't we? We brought Holding on, and we tried to see the game out. My concern is when the fatigue kicks in, do we have another technical level to hit, either on the bench or from within, to then go again? And I wasn't seeing it. I mean, it was, I don't know about you, but I don't know if you were able to watch it fully on the stream, but that was one of the most horrible halves of football I've ever had to watch. I can't imagine why anyone wants to watch it again. I mean, it was, my wife at the end of the game said to me, what would you be like? What would you be like if you lost? And I said, I'd be much better if we lost. I'll tell you why. Because we're winning right now. We've been losing for years. I went, we're winning. We're winning right now. I went, now there's hope. Now I'm holding on to everything. So obviously everything's more pent up.
It hurts.
It's like, you know what the feeling is. But I don't know. What's your feelings on that then? I'm not being pessimistic, but I'm just thinking.
No, you're not being pessimistic. And I'll tell you something. I think we'll bounce back. I think we'll bounce back. I really do. But there is a concern of, is this showing still a little bit of area of work that Arteta needs to work on for himself? Because does he have a plan B if things go pear-shaped? We questioned his in-game management, didn't we, over the last couple of seasons? And his tactics, some of his substitutions were questioned. So is that something that's still a slight issue? And the only way we'll know, Jack, is with further games. This is only the first real bad game that we've had, because even the loss against Man U, we played great. For 70% of that game, we played brilliantly. We dominated. So this is our real first bad game. I'm not really including the games against Bodo, because Bodo was an unknown team, and the second game was an artificial pitch, and it's a different circumstance. And plus, we had changes in the personnel as well. So this is our first poor performance, if you like. And is that
in the league for sure? Yeah,
in the league. Yeah, sorry. And is that down to the players? Is it down to the management? Is it down to tactics? What is it down to? Or is it just down to a bad day at the office?
Yeah,
I think we need to see
for a fair amount of them, which is the
yeah,
concern.
yeah.
That's where I
So
think fatigue is the overriding factor. But go on.
yeah, so I think it is. I think you're right. I think fatigue is the overriding factor. But I want to see if we struggle again like that. What's he going to do? What is he going to be able to have the ability to change it? And this is where I think now the January transfer window is huge, because I think we do need 2 or 3 more players.
We're at least 2 short.
At least two, at least 2. And I'm confident. I don't know why. I think because of our failure to get that extra player at the end of the window in the summer. I've got a feeling this window, normally January isn't really known to be a window of big signings, as we all know. But I've just got a feeling because the World Cup's come at a time when it has, I think there might be quite, and not just for us, I think for quite a few teams, I think there is going to be an increased activity in this window.
Post-World Cup activity is big anyway, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
It is. Oh, always.
Yeah.
And Arteta isn't going to be too busy. I mean, I'm not saying he'll obviously be working his hardest, planning, etc., whatever he needs to do. But I think he will have more time with Edu to focus on who they might want to bring. They'll watch the World Cup very close. Yeah, exactly. So I won't be surprised. I actually got a feeling we might get two key signings in January because because I'll tell you why. I don't even think he probably expected us to be where we are at the moment in the league. Probably didn't, right? None of us did. I mean, even with me and my positivity, I always said we're going to win everything. But I didn't think we'd be winning 9. It is our best start, I think, in our history.
I think it is. I should have checked it, but I think it is.
So who's gonna think that? No one would have foresaw that. And so he's going to think, actually, do you know what? It might be more than a top 4 chance. We could actually be in a shout for challenging here. And if that's the case, if he's smart about it, I think he might bring in a couple of players. He might have already had 1 in his sides, but he might bring in 2, and we need it. We need it because that might then be able to give him the flexibility of making tactical changes in game if something like this is happening again. So at the moment, it's too early for me. It's only 1 game, but there is a slight concern for me. So,
but the thing there with that is, if we're talking about the squad overall, is currently you'd have to say we're being relatively lucky with injuries. Like our squad, who are we missing? Smith Rowe, Elneny, who we've missed for all the season, basically. Neither of them have really played. And Zinchenko, which is probably the most immediate concern. I think, if he was fit against Leeds, he would have played. And I think it would have made a huge difference because, in central midfield, Tommy Asu, I watched him. He was trying to drop into midfield. He was trying to do that inside left thing. It's just not the same. In fact, I was kind of surprised Tierney didn't play, but it's just not the same. Zinchenko's perfect player for that. And if you want to dominate the ball, I think it's perfect. But also, Neil, what was interesting here is if you'd had like a Giroud on the bench or even a Lacazette, would it have made a difference if you'd put them up top? Because Jesus wasn't having the best of games. He was struggling to hold up the ball.
He was struggling. He wasn't getting the service either.
He wasn't getting the service. So if you've got someone on, I wouldn't say Lacazette, but someone like a Giroud, do you know what I mean? Like that, we don't have the obvious plan B. We argued in the summaries, Eddie and Jesus's profiles too alike in terms of different moments in different games, and this was a moment where maybe if you had that sort of big target man, it was great with his back to goal. You just have an out ball where you could just release your fast players because Martinelli and Saka were going one way in the second half. It was all backwards, and we couldn't get out. And that's the concern. Like you said, if it happens again, I feel like our answer to that when the legs go or we can't play out is bring Rob Holding on, go to a back 3, and we see this out? And that's only going to work for you so much. Rob Holding is one of the best at doing that, but you've got to have a release valve, and we didn't have it. It was just it was just relentless. It was a very, very tough watch, I thought. But I did think he made his subs, other than the Odegaard one. I thought his subs were correct. I just think he made them too late. I thought Ben White should have been subbed like 15 minutes earlier. I thought Tierney should have come on earlier. I thought Eddie probably should have come on earlier.
Can I say something a little bit controversial? I think Eddie should have started because I was worried about Jesus. Jesus was knocked out. I think you probably know more than I did.
Very interesting. They didn't mention anything there.
And then he got battered again afterwards in the same game.
Yeah. And
I just thought, I think I wouldn't have had any problem with Eddie starting that game.
Yeah.
Number one, I think he needs it because we've committed to him. We need,
he'll start against PSV, I think.
And if something happens to him, happens to Jesus, That's that's the next in line. So
Yeah.
he needs to have a bit of, and plus he's playing against his old side. I don't know if I know the service was a big factor, but also Jesus wasn't himself anyway. I mean, he had that chance, didn't he, which he skied.
Yes, Odegaard couldn't get it out of his feet.
Yeah, he couldn't. He couldn't.
And he did actually quite well in the end.
Mm.
I was very annoyed with Odegaard when I first saw it. I was like, "What?" I think I texted you and we were like, "He never gets shoots, does he? Never shoots."
Yeah.
When you watch it back, it's like, okay, he got stuck under his feet and he kind of improvises quite well, didn't he? But Jesus, like you said, he should score.
Should have finished. So I thought I wouldn't have had a problem with Eddie starting that game and maybe bringing Jesus on if we needed him. But anyway, it is as you said. I think you're right. They came on too late. They came on far too late. I agree with Tomiyasu. He should have. I think the only reason why he played there was because he was magnificent against Liverpool in that position.
Yeah,
magnificent. So I thought, oh yeah, but Tierney should have been the player, 100%, 100%. And actually, I would like to see Tierney and Tomiyasu for Southampton, not White.
Yes, I agree with you. I think Whitewell. The weird thing there, though, is Neil. I'm expecting that fullback pairing on Thursday, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Agreed.
And the problem there is, if you look at the games, he has been reluctant to play Tomiyasu and Tierney in back-to-back games. Yes. So I'd like to see some sort of clarification on the problem there. When you're playing,
why is that? But why is that? Is it because he doesn't trust them? Why is that?
I presume it's a fitness thing. Like they've both had terrible injury records. I presume he's trying to manage them a bit like he manages Partey. Like I don't think Partey. I think there's a chance Partey starts in midweek because it's PSV and they've got an unbelievable central midfielder in Sanga, who I wanted to sign to play in Partey's position if Partey wasn't playing in the summer. So I don't see him putting Lokonga up against that player in midweek. PSV are a good side, so I think Partey will start. I think he's probably thinking, I'm going to try and get 60 minutes out of Partey on Thursday and 60 minutes out of him on Sunday. That's what in my head I'm thinking.
Okay.
I could be completely wrong. But I think he's going to go way stronger than people think on Thursday. I see a couple of rotations. I think Eddie will start maybe, and I think Vieira might start, and maybe Odegaard and Jesus get a break. Beyond that, maybe it's just the fullbacks and that's it, Ben White or whatever. But I think we go pretty strong. But because I don't think Lokonga... He's in an interesting moment, Lokonga. He's in a moment where I thought we should have loaned him in the summer and bought someone. Didn't. I still think that was probably the right call, but I could be wrong. I think he's a player. Definitely don't want to sell him, but I thought, is he a player that comes in? That's why I think, like you said in the window, I think because Elneny will be back by January unless something's really crazy going on. If Elneny's back by January and he didn't sign someone in the summer when he knew Elneny was out anyway, I don't think he's going in for a central midfielder in January, but I do think he'll go in for a winger because I don't think Smith Rowe. I think Smith Rowe's health is far more up in the air than Elneny's. Like Elneny's not really notorious for having injuries, so I don't think he had surgery for this one. It was just a bad hamstring strain, I want to say. So the assumption would be Elneny's. He's a bit like Xhaka. He's quite actually reliable when he's fit. Smith Rowe, though, who knows if he's ever going to be fit and ready. So who are you changing for Martinelli and Saka? We can't trust Marquinhos yet. So, and the worry, so against PSV, you're probably starting Martinelli and Saka again.
Gosh.
Do you know what I mean? And we don't have the ability to be able to rotate. We need that one player to be able to rotate. Nelson, we can't trust. I don't think he looked very good in midweek. Marquinhos, I think, looks relatively solid, but it's too new for him. It's too fresh at the moment. He's probably just going to be bound to cup games and Europa League games and bench appearances in the league, I would have thought. You need someone a bit more established at the top level, I think, to give Saka and Martinelli some minutes. But like you say, I mean, it's tentative, but we've got 4 more league games before the break. That's what we've got with obviously Cup and Europa League games in there. So but we do have to ride our luck a little bit, I think, with fitness, because I don't think, certainly from midfield to striker, I think we're short. I think we're short in quality a little bit, and I think you saw that in this Leeds game. Could have wanted to change it, and we didn't. So, I mean, we look like we're going to see it out there. I don't know where they get the 6 minutes of injury time from. I know there was the penalty. The penalty wasn't, there wasn't a massive delay there. Maybe a couple of minutes. So I don't know where. I mean, at least 2 minutes to extra. But anyway, in the 5th minute of injury time, we get the incident. What's your thoughts on the incident? And the referees.
Okay, so when I saw it, I thought, oh no, what have you done? What have you done, Gabriel? What have you done? Why? Why? My heart sank. I'll be completely honest with you. Now, this is when I was listening to it on the audio, so I didn't know what the hell was going
Yeah.
on.
So
I've only been able to capture it, on the match day highlights afterwards. So my heart sank, and then I thought, what has he gone and done? So I just thought, we've blown it. We've dropped 2 points here, where although it wasn't a perfect game for us, far from it, we managed to hold out, and that's a really great result to get the 3 points there. When number one, we're not playing well, and number two, it's Elland Road. What a banger of a result! And I thought we've gone and thrown it away at the last minute. And even Saka, who was interviewed afterwards, said when he first saw it, he thought, "Oh, Gabriel, what have you done?"
Yeah,
he said it.
He's
Even,
like on Xhaka, isn't he?
Yeah. What have you done? So, initial thoughts, Gabriel, what have you done? But then when I managed to watch the highlights and I saw what Bamford clearly bundled him over. Clearly. Now, Gabriel was probably wrong to react because you know what it reminded me of? Do you remember when he didn't touch him? I don't think he did. Vieira, and yes. And then he got sent off. Yes.
But that one, brilliant example. That one, Vieira did more in that one. Like, it wasn't a red card to me from Vieira.
No. Oh, that was the bias at that time. Yeah,
of course. He didn't contact him at all. But there was an intentional bomb out from Vieira. Gabriel, obviously, his legs went up in the air. He knew what he was doing, but he actually didn't really kick out at him. No. He just went, I'm just going to chuck my legs up towards you, kind of thing.
But look at Bamford's reaction.
He's a little cheat.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
How does the ref come to a conclusion so quickly that it's a red card
and a penalty?
How? What did he see? Was it from the linesman? Because if it was, the linesman needs to be investigated because the linesman's already given that offside. Yeah,
exactly.
It did seem because he ran over to the linesman initially. So I think it might have been some sort of indication from the linesman before he gave the red card. I want to say he went over there and then gave the red. I've got to watch it back. But yeah, that's unbelievable. Like, all I got, because John's not watching the game, but he believes in watching it on Betfair so he can tell me what's happening without actually knowing what's happening. So he's like, pen lead and red card. And I'm watching it going, yeah, but have you seen this? Like, what is this about? Like, kind of thing. He's like, no, what's going on? And but he's telling me what's going on, but he doesn't know what's happening because he's not watching the game. But I don't know how. We should come out of it just thinking, wow, brilliant that it was overturned. Thank God, technology was available on the day.
Yeah.
But the skeptic in me goes, how did you come to that conclusion? How? It's a ludicrous decision.
Yeah.
Absolutely ludicrous. And then someone said to me today at work, they went, well, if Gabriel, because Gabriel stands in his way. I went, stands in his way from what?
What do you mean
I mean, I get you. He sees someone coming towards him, but the ball isn't there to be won anyway. The ball is at nothing play. The ball isn't there to be won. So of course he's just going to stand. I mean, is the argument, if you're nitpicking at Gabriel, is the argument there to be like, don't even raise your legs, mate. Just go down, make a meal of it, drop to the floor.
Yeah, I guess so. But at the end of the day, it's a reaction, isn't it? It's just a reaction. Sometimes you lose it at that moment. You shouldn't. I've always talked about, they're professional players. They paid a lot of money. They should rise above this kind of stuff. But sometimes, at the end of the day, we're humans, and you just do that one or two rash things. And maybe the guy had been goading him. We don't know. I feel Gabriel's been in the Gabriel's been in the wars. I think a little bit. We had that alleged whatever. What's his name has said to him. Henderson has said
that'll never get mentioned again. Yeah.
Oh no, it won't. And of course it won't.
He's English. Why would it? Part of England.
Darling of the country. So nothing's gonna happen to that. But obviously, looking at Firmino's response, something's definitely been said. What that is, we don't know, but something. So he's been in the wars, and then I think a bit even on the Leeds game, and I think he just lost it for that moment because of maybe a culmination of all of that. I think Arteta's got to sit him down and talk to him. His coaches, his personal coach, has got to sit him down, talk to him, and say, "Look, all right, we understand that it can be frustrating, that you might feel the need to lash out, but don't do it on the pitch. Just don't. Try your best not to do it on the pitch because we know how well the team is performing at the moment, and it's in little things like that can almost lead to a domino effect of having a run of bad luck because of it. we've got to try and be as professional as possible and avoid that, because that would have been a real. I know a lot of people are saying, "Well, did we deserve 3 points, etc.?" But Jack, for me, the best teams, even the cities of this world, you're going to have a bad game, but the champions tend to come out of it somehow. Man United were the experts at it. They were the best at it. They would play some atrocious games, and somehow they would get 3 points. But they were champions. They did it, and I saw that at Leeds. It was our worst game by far.
Mm-hmm.
By far. It was a throwback to the last couple of seasons. Yet what happens? We get 3 points.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. As long as this doesn't continue too much.
Well, I actually think last season helped him a little bit, because this was almost our MO last season. Get a goal, bring Holding on, try to see it. Do you remember away from home?
You're right. Yeah.
I think it helped him, because once I saw Holding coming on, I had my blood pressure probably went down at least 10 to 15 went down. I was like, Holding knows how to see out game. So I felt a bit more comfortable, like, because that was basically we were moaning about it, weren't we? And saying, but I just think, there's a lot of teams up the top that are winning games again now. Chelsea are looking much better and stuff like that. But people don't really talk about the games that they've, like Chelsea won 2-0 at the weekend. Villa had 18 shots. Chelsea had 8. Do you know what I mean? Like there's games like this all the time. The only team that you look at is like Man City, but they play in such a dominant way. I mean, even against Liverpool where they lost, they had 64% of the ball. I mean, they are just a team that absolutely suffocates you with the ball. You have to play differently against Man City. Doesn't necessarily mean they're infallible. Doesn't necessarily mean you can't get them. Liverpool kind of showed if you shut down Haaland, there's a definitely a possibility. That's the hard part. But yeah, I just thought, yeah. Oh, do you know what was great to see was how much maturity has Xhaka got right now. I mean, he went over to Gabriel. He's talking to him. I thought he was absolutely brilliant to the ref, because if you watch it again, the ref's kind of giving it. He's adamant it's a red, and Xhaka's like, just look at the monitor. That's all he's literally pointing his game. And then if it isn't, then give it. But you've got to go and look at it, because we can't believe what you're giving here. And I thought Xhaka was brilliant. I thought he was fantastic. I didn't think necessarily had a great game.
He's the captain.
But I thought he was brilliant in calm, because even after the decision was given, and again, Gabriel's now one booking away from a suspension, and I cannot for the life of me understand
why he got a yellow and Bamford,
he got a yellow and Bamford, the instigator, got nothing. That again, it doesn't make sense. I shouldn't moan about it, because the ref was I don't know if humble is the right word, but he was willing to see his mistake in the last minute of the game at a ground that was full packed of Leeds fans. And I've got to give a little bit to the ref to be like, at least he was able to see it. Because let's put it this way, if that was Mike Dean, Mike Dean's not even going over to the monitor. He's not even going over to the monitor. If he goes over to the monitor, he's not flipping the red card and the decision he's made in front of it. He's not doing it. Mike Dean is not doing it. He's got too big an ego. So this ref was honest enough to go, I've screwed up here big time.
Yeah.
But he didn't go. Yeah, it was refreshing, because I was like, there's no way. And when they were showing it on the monitor, they were stopping it right at the point of Gabriel's legs going in the air.
Oh, lovely.
And I was like, let it play out. Let it see that Gabriel did not kick out him. Please let it see. And they just kept starting. And I was like, he's not going to turn it over. But he did. He didn't go the furthest step to not give Gabriel anything. Because to be honest, that decision is a book in a piece, play on. Probably. That's probably
should have been the yellow for both.
Yeah, and free kick to us, which it was a free kick to us. How can you give a free kick to us and a booking to us? It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense, because someone's whacked into him. So that was bewildering, but obviously...
I wonder if he just... Do you know what? As stupid as it sounds, I wonder if he just forgot to brandish the card to him as well.
Oh, yeah, it must have been a complete throw-off to him.
Yeah,
completely. But I think the linesman is guilty here more than the ref. I think the linesman made the call, which is unbelievable to me for this. Like, how's the linesman making the call on a pen and like, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, it's unbelievable. But man, heart in the mouth moment. I mean, I was like all over the place, like when it was happening. Yeah. And then Arteta, I can't wait to watch Bench Cam again. Bench Cam's getting better and better every week. I mean, I love it. I think it comes out today.
Yeah, but we're winning on. Don't mix
Yeah,
it
well,
there.
of course. But
Do you know
last
what?
week
The
it was
other thing
fantastic.
people are forgetting is we're the first team to beat Leeds away at their ground this season.
Yeah,
And didn't they beat Chelsea 3-0?
yeah.
They're not easy. They're not easy team.
No,
And we
they're
still won.
really a high pressing team. That Sinisterra is a good player as well.
He's great. He really stood out for me.
Yeah, he
Really
was
stood out.
fast. Do you know what? They weren't doing
Yeah.
anything special, Neil. They were just pressing us really high, not giving us time, packing the midfield. But then in the second half, they must have thrown half a dozen balls over Ben White's head. And I was like, how are we not seeing this? We just kept going over his head. I was like, and I literally, honestly, was shouting. I was like, move Tomiyasu to right back because Ben White is positionally quite a clever bloke. So obviously it was a fatigue thing. He was like, I can't get back. I can't move up and down. I can't do it. And when Tomiyasu came in, although he was actually a lot better. It wasn't coming down over his head at least because Tomiyasu was elite in the air. So even if they're getting it over his head, he's getting something on it. And I thought Tomiyasu. Some people were like, I actually thought he had quite a good game, Tomiyasu, especially when he got moved over to the right.
Yes.
The problem there is, I think it's a bit weird when you want to dominate the ball to play two fullbacks that aren't forward thinking naturally. I think that's weird. I think it was definitely a Tierney game, and I felt it was a bit weird that we didn't start Tierney. I know we started him in midweek, but I think we brought him off at some point. So I just thought it was a bit weird not to do that. I think that was a strange decision.
I agree.
And that was it. But we got away. But brilliant to get the win. And it was fantastic. 2 wins in a week. Not 2 games that I want to talk about too much, but I hope that the performances are just more down to fatigue and not down to our sort of natural retraction into being like, they're attacking us, we're going to drop 10 yards deeper and just try to hold it. I hope we're in the mindset now that we're much more forward thinking, and it was much more down to fatigue. But the argument there, Neil, is let's give you predictions. How do we get fresh again for Thursday? Big game at home. PSV, you know, they're really made for these sort of games because their league is, you know, it's not as tough as the Premier League, I wouldn't say for sure. So they're going to be relatively fresh, I presume. I don't know how they did at the weekend, PSV, but they're scoring they're scoring a ton in the Europa League, yeah. So how strong do you think we'll go? And what's your prediction for PSV and Southampton away on Sunday?
Fairly strong. I think what you said earlier, probably 2-3 changes.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah,
I think Eddie's got to start. Please start Eddie, because Jesus didn't look right, and just start Eddie.
Another week, yeah.
Sure. I'd like to see Vieira. I definitely want to see Vieira.
Yep, I agree with those two.
And a couple of tweaks at the back, but apart from that, it'll be the same team. Actually, no. No. I think he will play Turner, because Turner didn't do too bad.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
He did impress, actually, in the two.
Yeah, he may well play Turner.
No, I don't think Ramsdale will play. I think it will be Turner, actually.
Plus, Ramsdale's had the odd little niggle, wouldn't he?
Yeah. So Turner will be in goal. I'll be shocked if he isn't.
Do you think he'll play Lokonga over Partey, or do you think he's going to start Partey?
I'll go with Partey, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that one I'm 50-50 on because of Partey's health, obviously, and fitness, and we've got manager. Other than that, I think it's like you said.
Martinelli, Saka, 100%. I'll be shocked, but I would like to see if we do all right, but it's going to be tough. If we do all right, I'd like to see Marquinhos come in. I think he needs to get minutes. He needs minutes.
Yeah, he didn't start. The thing there, Neil, is he didn't start at Bodo Glimt, so I'm thinking he's not starting against PSV.
No, I don't think he's going to start. But if we're doing well, we should bring him on, because I think there is a player in him. I'm telling you, Jack. I think him and Vieira are going to be 2 great players for us.
I'd like to see Vieira play in this game,
but they need time. They need the time. They need the minutes.
Yeah,
Vieira, I think will start. I think Vieira will actually start.
Yeah, I think he'll start as well. So, just to sort of give the context a little bit, if we win the game, we haven't won the group, but we're definitely through, and we're almost there with the group. We could afford to lose to PSV away, and even I think maybe even get a point at home to Zurich, and we'd be fine. But we hopefully would beat Zurich at home because they're the weakest team in the group. You'd never take it for granted, but
no.
So winning this game would be really, really important to rest players further on. And I presume the PSV away game and the Zurich home game, they're all before the World Cup. I presume we're finishing.
Yes, they are.
We are.
They are. We
So
are.
those would be really huge with Chelsea coming up and things like that.
Yeah.
So
we've got 3 cup games before the World Cup. The 2 European, and we got the
Brighton game, which you're going to, aren't you? Are you going to that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your prediction then for PSV and Southampton? I don't want to discuss too much because we can't really talk about it till after we got through PSV.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be tight. Actually, even though it's at home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 2-1.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be low scoring. I think it's gonna be 2-1.
Yeah.
Although even though they're putting the goals in, but they probably haven't had a. I think our defense is. I've still got confidence in our defense. I'm not going to put boo-boo our defense.
I think it'll start Saliba
and we're at home. And we're at home. You've got to remember, we're not away yet.
Yeah.
2-1 us. 2-1 us. Eddie's got to score. He's got to get the ball in the net. Eddie, 2-1.
Big game for Eddie. I think it'll start like you. I think it's a big game for him because
I'll be shocked if he doesn't start. I'll be shocked.
Yeah, he's got to start him in this one. I think, even though it's a big game and we want to win it. I mean, it's a huge game and we need to win it. But if we draw it, it's not exactly the. I mean, we're still in control of the group, is what I'm saying. Like we're still in control of the group if we draw it, because it's basically us or PSV that are going to win it. I don't know who the next team is, but I think we're on 9 points now on 7. So. To be honest, even if you drew both games against PSV, you're still in control of the group, I believe. It's not. You don't want that to happen, but it's not. It's not the be all and end all. But we want to win it. I know we want to win it because we want to be able to rest players in the next further game. So you're going 2-1 and Eddie. And what about Southampton away on Sunday? I think it's same time, is it? It's probably a 2 p.m. game. I think
it is. I don't know about the team because I think that what will happen on Thursday will define who might start and who might not. But I mean, if it's on, if it's got no injuries, I think it'll start the same again. Yeah. But I want to see Tomiyasu. I don't know whether Ben White needs a break, Jack. I don't know.
I'd give him that break definitely on Thursday. Yeah.
But I think if he's going to play Tomiyasu, play him to his strengths, i.e., back where he belongs. You play your best players in their best positions. Don't just because you had a great game against Liverpool out of position doesn't mean that's the way forward.
Yeah, that was a moment in time, wasn't it? That was a for that game.
And also it gives you the opportunity if you need to do that because of other circumstances, you have the option. But if you don't need to do it, why do it? That's my point, right? And so I think it will be a strong team again. It has to be because it's the league and that's our priority. It's got to be priority. Getting 4th position, getting top 4 is priority. It's
huge, yeah.
I think again it's going to be tight. I would love to have said a battering. It won't be 2-0.
That's sounds comfortable to me. I love that.
2-0. Well, 1-0 wasn't, was it?
No.
Leeds, so
no.
But I'd say 2-0 and Saka.
Wow. Wowza. Yeah. We need our midfield to come back strong. I mean, again, my underlying concern is the games are coming thick and fast, and we can't afford to rest anybody at this moment in time. So how do we get the freshness back in the legs? I hope we're able to do that. I think we've got to be pretty light on our practices at the moment, especially with the players that are playing every week, every game, like the Salibas and the and the Xhakas of the world. But I'll go. You said 2-1, did you? I'll go midweek. I'll go 3-1. I'll go 3-1. I'll say we'll fire out the blocks against PSV, but then we might fade later on. But let's see if we go. So I'll go 3-1. Saka. I think it's going to start. So I'll go 3-1 Saka, and best player at the moment, I'd say probably. He's firing, isn't he? And then Southampton's. Yeah, it's going to be tricky. I'll go 1-0. Go 1-0. 1-0. And I'll go Jesus for that. Jesus for that one.
If he plays, he needs a goal, right?
Yeah, he needs a goal. He got one against Spurs, but yeah, it'd be nice to get him. Most of his goals have been at home this season. I want to say almost all of his goals have been at home. Got a couple against Leicester, Tottenham. Yeah. He's scored 4 or 5. The only game he scored away, I think, might have been Brentford. I might be wrong there, but so it'd be nice to see him get one. But hey, we're top of the league, 4 points clear. for the moment, we're dreaming, and rightly so.
Amazing.
So let's see. Let's hope we can almost put the group in completely in our hands, and then go to Southampton and do it again. So fingers crossed. You can follow us at Purely Arsenal FP on Twitter. We're on YouTube, Purely Arsenal on YouTube. Please subscribe there. Even if you want to listen to us on Spotify or on wherever you find your podcasts, if you like listening rather than watching, great. But if you give us a subscription on YouTube, that always helps us out. It's free. It's no adverts at the start, during, or at the end. None of that. Not advertising anything like that. And not asking for your money. Or anything like that. We don't do any of that on this one. And but just if you give us a free little click on the subscription, you actually usually get them earlier. The YouTube feed's usually up a little bit earlier, so that helps a little bit. And you can always listen to it on there, even if you don't want to watch. So appreciate it. We'll be back after the Southampton game. Hopefully James, Mike, maybe get them guys on. Also spoke to Garrett the other day. He wants to come back on.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Pods. Yeah, it's been a while with Garrett. It's been a couple of years for him, hasn't it? God, our long-time listeners will remember Garrett, our fan from over here.
Years.
Has it been that long, has it? I thought I might have had him on 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, it might have been then.
He's got two little ones now, but I said to him, I went, your timings must be the same as me, mate, because my free time is when they're asleep, so let me know.
Oh, good to see him. Yeah,
yeah. He's texted me a bit about the Arsenal. He's going, are we on to something? And I'm like, we might be on to something. Let's hope this week, not only the results, but let's hope we can start seeing some of the free-flowing performances that we saw a little bit in the first half against Leeds, because it's lovely to see that football in it. And Arteta, in fairness to us, has got us playing some fantastic stuff this season. So let's get back to it. Up the Arsenal. Have a great day, Neil. This one will be up soon, and we'll be back next week. Up the Arsenal.